So there we are, 138 videos, 34 score predictions videos and 32 championship review videos later. We're here in the final day of the championship today on Wednesday. All games will be kicked off at 7:30. It's going to be emotional, and to be honest, I still remember making my first score predictions video all the way back in the 1st of August last year. So nearly exactly a year ago I've made that video, and honestly a lot has changed and I feel quite emotional looking back at it. But if you got a correct score prediction, your comment will be included on the screen right now. And honestly, with your comments, thank you guys so much for leaving your comments, and I've got to thank you guys for the support you've given me throughout the year. I remember my first video I got 0 comments, but now on average I get about 15 to even 30 comments, which is absolutely incredible. This is what the Lexus Hall of Fame currently looks like. Of course, Joshua Fruit, there's a bit of a gap. Can anyone catch him? Well, we'll soon find out, because I'm not only going to predict the final championship games, I'm also going to predict the final Premier League games as well. This will be the final score predictions video in terms of both English leagues, so it's going to feel a very special video for sure. But if you guys like what you see, you want to see more of this next year, and you want to see it for the next season as well, you want this to continue, please make sure you do give this video a like. It is tremendously appreciated. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel, because it would really help the channel. We're nearly on 200 subscribers. It'd be fantastic if you could achieve that as soon as we can. All that would really make my day. But without any further ado, for the final time, let's predict these championship games. So the first game of the last batch of championship games to go through is Birmingham versus Derby, a game where I don't think there'll be too much to play for. Of course, Birmingham could still technically be relegated, but a lot of results will need to go their way. Personally, I do think they have got enough to survive the season following the teams below them. But with both of these teams not in great form, Birmingham not won in 13 games, and Derby, who looked very good when the restart started, have just been on an epic collapse, losing 4 games in a row. I do think they were quite unlucky a little bit in games, but I think it was their mentality that's really let them down. Like, I think back to the Cardiff game where they made 2 very silly mistakes, 2 very avoidable mistakes as well, and that lack of backbone and that mentality to get back into the game, I think that is what really has cost Derby this season. But I think given another season with Philip Cocu, I think he can improve his team, as this is a game with not much to play for. I'm actually thinking there's going to be a couple of goals in this game. We saw it last weekend where Blackburn and Reading had a 7-goal thriller. I think this will not be quite in the same intensity, but I'm going to say a 5-goal thriller. I'm going to say Derby with the better squad. I'm going to say they've got a 3-2 away victory, but I think it's going to be really close actually. Before we move on to the next game, I've heard that FIFA 20 has got a free kick in a great position, and Tom Lawrence can hit those free kicks. Let's observe. That is right, we have a free kick 22 yards out, and Waghorn won the foul after pushing forward. It has been a real lackluster game. I think it's going to be Tom Lawrence who's going to be taking this free kick. He is going to take it. Oh, what an opportunity! It came over the post, and the rebound is scored by Graham Shinney. Birmingham, they will be eyeing up Luton and Charlton's results following this defeat. 1-0 Derby. What a scrappy goal, but it is a goal. So FIFA 20 thinks that Derby will win by 1-0. Should be very tight. The second game to go over is Brentford versus Barnsley, a really big game for both of these sides. Brentford ideally need a win to put the pressure on West Brom to try and increase my Rangers. Barnsley have to win minimum, otherwise if they don't, they're just going to be relegated. So it's a really important game for both of these sides. Brentford have been very strong at home though. They've had 12 home wins in their last 15 home games, so I think Barnsley will find it difficult to crack Brentford. Having said that, Barnsley did put 2 brilliant performances against 2 top 6 sides in Leeds and Nottingham Forest already. Deservedly won against Nottingham Forest in my opinion. I thought they were absolutely terrific and could have scored a lot more. In the situation Barnsley find themselves in, they're 23rd place, and I'm assuming that Wigan and Sheffield Wednesday, like all over the news, I'm hearing different stories, that they won't get their points deductions. Now, following Wigan's 12-point deduction, it's been confirmed by the EFL that they will receive the 12-point deduction at the end of the season, but it is on subject to an appeal, so we're not 100% sure if that deduction is going to stay the same. It could be reduced or it could be rid entirely. We don't know what's going to happen, but all my analysis on Wigan is going to be as if they're not going to receive their deduction. The uncertainty of these points deductions is going to make my analysis either look really good or really stupid, because we still don't know when it's going to be applied. If Wigan's things is going to be applied, if Sheffield Wednesday's things is going to be applied, if Derby's things is going to be applied, we have absolutely no idea. So I'm basing this if the points deduction is going to be moved on to next season, so bear that in mind. Barnsley need Luton not to win and Charlton to lose against Leeds, but ideally Barnsley need to win this game, and I think that is going to be the hurdle that they just cannot overcome. For me, I'm going to say that Brentford get a 2-0 home victory. I think Brentford will be right up for this game. I think they knew their performance against Stoke was completely unacceptable, and I think at home they are a stronger side. I'll say 2-0 Brentford. Before we move on, in FIFA 20 simulation, we have a very important goal. Who's got the 3 crucial points? A big goal, and it's for Barnsley. A terrific game, and Jacob Brown's headed goal in the 13th minute was enough to win for Barnsley. Brentford had the chances, even had a penalty miss 7 minutes later from side Ben Rama. But Barnsley could have had more and thoroughly deserved the win. Barnsley now need to look at results elsewhere to see if they survive. As with Brentford, they have blown their chances of promotion. 1-0 Barnsley. A huge result for Barnsley. That goal could potentially get them to survive the season. So this is going to be a very interesting contest. So the next game is Bristol City going up against Preston North End. 2 teams that don't have a lot to play for. Bristol City had a pretty disappointing defeat against Swansea. They were good in quite a lot of the stages of the game. But as soon as Swansea went ahead, I think Bristol City just kind of curled into a ball a little bit. They just dropped back until they actually managed to win the penalty, which Jeju unfortunately missed. Bristol City didn't look all that dangerous, and Swansea could have scored more in a day. As with Preston, they finally got their first clean sheet for a while. I think it was 13 games that they've actually managed to keep a win and a clean sheet. Albeit it was against a poor Birmingham side, where Birmingham did start quite well, but they just were not clinical enough, very low in confidence at the moment. Preston took full advantage. Because this is the last game for the season, you can almost discount form a little bit. I'm probably going to edge this game as a draw, because that was what was the result in the reverse fixture. It was 3-3, a really entertaining game, but I think both sides not in as strong as quality. Both have not got their full squads out. I think it's going to be 1-1. It's going to be really tight. FIFA 20 thinks it'll be 0-0. In fact, actually, no, hang on. We have got to go in the final minute of the game. Who has won the 3 points? It's unbelievable. The final attack in the game has earned Bristol City with all 3 points. Eliasson throws in the ball with assistance of Jack Hunt. He loops the ball, and Famara Jeju, who's been in the news this week, he scores the 92nd minute, the final minute of added on stoppage time. A game which both sides don't have much to play for, but dramatic scenes as Bristol City snatch it from the death. 1-0 Bristol City. Wow. What a very dramatic result that was. Hopefully the game is this dramatic in real life. Next up, we got Cardiff going up against Hull. 2 sides in very contrasting forms. Cardiff have cracked the 70 points mark, tied on points right now in Nottingham Forest. If I can get a really good result against this Hull City side, as it stands, if Cardiff get 5th and results stay the same, they will have to play against Fulham, which actually I think will be a much better game for them rather than playing against Brentford. As with Hull, they're in complete disarray. They did have a big opportunity to try and make some ground into trying to avoid relegation, having a home game against Luton Town. First half performance was okay, definitely a pretty good response from their 8-0 thumping of Wigan Athletic, but second half was completely criminal. Didn't have a shot on target against the Luton Town side who've conceded 80 goals. I mean, come on. With Cardiff's quality right now, how good they look going forward, like Josh Murphy, Lee Tomlin, who's battling very well with his injury that he has with his knee. Overall, just Cardiff are just a much better and organised squad on and off the pitch. I'm going to say that Cardiff will blow Hull away. I'm going to say 3-0 Cardiff, which will be very heartbreaking for Hull City fans. And before I hear, we've got a goal in FIFA 20 simulation, and Hull's sorrows just get deeper and deeper. That is right, I think Hull have now gone down to League One. Neither side started that well, honestly, but Cardiff moved the ball well with Glatzel and Josh Murphy. Bennett on the left hand side supplies the ball to Glatzel, who has a shot saved by Long, but he heads in the rebound. Cardiff as it stands overtake Nottingham Forest and finish in 5th place. Hull as it stands finished the championship in rock bottom, only 1 win in 2020. 1-0 Cardiff. So FIFA 20 thinks that Cardiff will win by 1-0. Let's see who's right. The next game to predict is Leeds versus Charlton. A really big game, especially for Charlton. And it will be a game that a lot of the relegation pack are going to keep a very close eye on. A really tough test for Charlton to try and overcome a Leeds United side who look as good as they have been, even better as champions as well, because they looked just so good against Derby, despite going behind, which I think was against a run of play, because I think the likes of Ian Paveda, Hernandez were so good in that first half. Leeds took over and they managed to blow Derby away, and despite probably being hungover for some of them, they still produced a fantastic performance, which you just have to give credit with the organisation of the squad and Marcelo Bielsa, because I think both of them combined just make a natural championship superpower, and they do deserve to go up. I'll be interested to see how they cope in the Premier League though. I'm going to miss talking about them in my championship reviews, that's for certain. As with Charlton Athletic, they've got a completely different priority, which is to survive in the championship. Right now they are outside the relegation relegation zone, joint on points with Luton Town, so they're only outside of the relegation zone on goal difference. So it's going to be very squeaky bum if Charlton are going to survive the season. Luton, you could argue, have a much better game against Blackburn at home. But if Charlton do get a result, it does put a huge amount of pressure on Luton, who will now need to beat Blackburn to try and guarantee their survival. Having said that, Charlton may be on the upper hand because Leeds have only beaten Charlton once in their last 12 meetings. And the last time Leeds beat Charlton at Ellen Road was in the 2000-2001 season, the first season where I entered the world. I was only a couple of months old when that result came around. Before I predict the result, I hear we've got a very big goal in this FIFA 20 simulation. Charlton need to win to guarantee a survival. Have they done that? A huge goal for Charlton. They lead in the 63rd minute. Leeds are all over the place and have not been great in this game. Charlton finally found some space, and it's Matthews who tucks the ball past Meslier at his near post. As it stands, Charlton are on 51 points and safe from the drop. 1-0 Charlton. Very interesting scenario right now, but to predict this game, I think with all these records you can throw at us, Leeds are breaking records. You know, they're back in the Premier League for the first time in 16 years, and I think they'll break another record and break the curse of not being able to beat Charlton for so many games. I'm going to say 2-1 Leeds. I think Leeds will have a party and parade. I know Charlton will probably set up to win, but I think Leeds are just too strong. Before we predict the next game, we've got a second goal in FIFA 20 simulation and another twist in the relegation battle. Let's see what happened. It is not good news for Charlton because Leeds have equalised and have responded so well to going behind. The goal is scored by Jamie Shackleton of all players. The assist from Matthias Klick got my heart rate up. Honestly, the smoothest back pass I've ever seen, and Shackleton finishes the job. It ends Leeds 1, Charlton 1. Charlton now need to hope for Luton to lose against Blackburn to ensure their championship survival. 1-1. Interesting, so FIFA thinks this will be a 1-1 draw, a pretty realistic result actually. If that does happen, Charlton will be hoping that Luton do not beat Blackburn, so we're going to have to wait and see. And speaking of Luton and Blackburn, that's the next game we've got to predict. And right on the bat, we've got a huge goal in the relegation battle. A huge goal for Charlton, Wigan, Birmingham and Barnsley because Luton have fallen behind against Blackburn. On the stroke of half-time, Sam Gallagher does extremely well. Wrestling the ball from Potts, he lays it off to Adam Armstrong, continuing his strong form. But Sluga will be very disappointed not to keep a stronger hand to it. As it stands, Luton are in 23rd and will be relegated unless they find 2 goals. 1-0 Blackburn. Very interesting. Blackburn have taken the lead. Luton are going to have to find 2 goals to try and survive. But what I think will happen in this game, I think this game's going to be really tight actually. But I think it'll be a very good test for Luton to see how they'll cope under pressure. They've given themselves such a fighting chance to survive. With all the people in the relegation battle having a really tough game, Luton I think have the nicest fixture out of all of them. However, it's a dangerous time to play Blackburn, who are playing around mid-table, not a lot to play for. They could go gun-ho and completely wipe Luton off the floor. And the thing is with Luton, I'm not sure about their home form. They've been away from home since the restart. They set up very well under Nathan Jones. But one thing they do need to improve is to start games better. They really start poorly in games. And if they just started in games better, Luton could look so dangerous. They've only scored 2 home goals since the restart, which is absolutely appalling. Blackburn had a really good win against Reading, 4-3. It was such an entertaining game from the neutral. Part of it had Sunday League defending in it, but having said that, it was a very momentous game, and I think if Blackburn could start on the front foot and Adam Armstrong could continue his fantastic form, then Luton could be put way under pressure, because I do think Adam Armstrong is the type of player that could really crack through this fragile Luton defence. I'm not sure what to predict in this game. This is going to be really tight. Luton at home have really struggled, so I'm not thinking they'll win. I think this will be a 1-1 draw. So if this happens, Luton have got to hope that Charlton lose to Leeds. They've got to hope that Barnsley don't beat Brentford, and then they'll also be hoping that we can get their points deduction, etc. It's such a complicated and such an uncertain relegation battle this year. This is what makes it so exciting. And before we move on, FIFA 20 has a second goal. Have Luton salvaged a draw, or have Blackburn sunk Luton's dreams? It's the latter. Blackburn have sealed Luton's fate and will make an immediate return to League One. It's a brilliant goal. Niambe has to be given the most credit here. He drives forward in the right hand side, supplies the cross for Adam Armstrong, winning a header. He has sealed Luton's fate. 2-0 Blackburn. Interesting, FIFA thinks Blackburn will win by 2-0. Very interesting scenario this game. I'm really excited to see it. Next up, we've got Millwall going up against Huddersfield. Both of these sides with not a lot to play for. I know Huddersfield are 3 points above the relegation zone, but for me, I think they're safe. Just like with Birmingham, I'll be very surprised to see them go down following the teams below them and the games that they've got to play. As with Millwall, they may be a little bit disappointed about their performance against Queen's Park Rangers, especially how good they were in some stages in the second half. In the first half, they did have chances, but they just did not create enough clear-cut chances. And Queen's Park Rangers were the better side in the first half. As with Huddersfield, a terrific performance against West Brom. Completely a result that I don't think many people saw coming. They hadn't scored for about 6 hours of football, but now they've managed to break that curse, and they scored 2 against one of the best teams in the Championship this year. This game, I think, is either going to be very quiet and cagey, or it could be like a 5-goal thriller, as we previously saw in this weekend. Huddersfield have got a very strong record against Millwall. Millwall have really struggled to play Huddersfield over the years, so I think following that, I'm actually going to edge Huddersfield. I'm going to say a 1-0 away victory to Huddersfield. I think they'll also play for a little bit of pride towards the Cowley brothers, because I don't think they deserve to be sacked. I think Huddersfield will rally, and they'll bring great performance in thought of them, because I thought they were doing great things for that club. FIFA 20 thinks it's going to be a 0-0 draw. Let's see what happens. Next up, we've got Nottingham Forest going up against Stoke City. Pretty important game for Nottingham Forest, actually, because this result could really be telling whether they're going to finish 5th or 6th, which could be a huge difference in terms of what chances they have in the playoff. As with Stoke, they have guaranteed survival with a terrific performance against Brentford. Defensively, Michael O'Neill set them up absolutely tactically, like on point. They really prevented Brentford playing to their strength, but that's at home. Away from home, they still need to fix a few things. If Michael O'Neill could set them up defensively the same way away as they are at home, then Stoke could be a pretty good side going into next year. As in Nottingham Forest, then really poor run of form at the moment, not winning in the last 5 games. But overall, as I look at these two sides and the way they play, I think Stoke may frustrate Nottingham Forest, but I think Nottingham Forest will have a bit of impetus trying to get a maximum of 3 points. I don't think that'll happen. I think this will be a 1-1 draw, a very, very tight game. Before we move on, FIFA 20 thinks that there's a goal. Who's got the all important 3 points? Breakthrough came in the 38th minute, and it's the away side who've got the goal. James McLean looked dangerous on the left, played a clever pass, and Tyrese Campbell with a lot of momentum hit an unstoppable shot past Brice Samba. This means that Nottingham Forest with no wins in 6 dropped to 6th place and would have to play against Brentford now in the playoffs. 1-0 Stoke. We've got 4 games left. The next game to go through is Reading versus Swansea. I won't lie, I'm not too excited about this game, but Swansea definitely need to try and play to win, because if Cardiff somehow lose against Hull, Swansea could swap their place and get into the top 6, but I do think results are going to be against Swansea a little bit. As with Reading, they're mid-table, not much to play for. Probably a bit of an agonising 4-3 defeat against Blackburn, where they did play a little bit well at some stages. Sam Bulldog playing very well when he came on. I can see this game being on equal terms. I think this will be a 1-1 draw. I don't see a lot in this game. Before we move on to the next game, I've heard that FIFA 20 has got a free kick in a great position. An only goal made a difference, and it went to Reading, who have denied Swansea's chances in finishing the top 6. Josh Puskas was fouled by Jay Fulton just outside the penalty box 19 yards out, and John Swift, who scored a terrific free kick against Blackburn in the weekend, scores an impressive free kick once again against Swansea. John Swift, the man in demand from Sheffield United, has made the difference. 1-0 Reading. Next up, we've got Sheffield Wednesday against Middlesbrough. Quite a lot of news coming out of Sheffield Wednesday recently. A lot of people have been hearing that they have made an aggravated breach following the sale of Hillsborough. Now, what that means by the term aggravated, it means the most illegal term of trying to breach terms. Now, what that could mean, it means that they can have a maximum of a 21-point deduction, which is a huge difference. They've got to try and get 7 wins to overturn the deduction itself. It'd be very, very surprising to me if they apply for this season. If they do, then Sheffield Wednesday are down in like last place, because 21 points is absolutely crazy. They're only 8 points above the relegation zone, Sheffield Wednesday. As with Middlesbrough, they've secured their survival for me, and away from home, Middlesbrough do look a much better side, a lot similar to Luton Town. Really good away, but not that good at home. The reverse fixture was one of the most bizarre games last year, where Sheffield Wednesday won by 4-1. Jordan Rhodes gained a hat-trick, where he hasn't scored in like an entire year. So it was one of the most weird and bizarre games that I've ever seen. But with this game, I think we'll get another bizarre result. I'm going to say Middlesbrough get a 2-1 away victory. FIFA 20 thinks it'll be a 0-0. An ultimate game is West Brom versus Queen's Park Rangers, a huge game. If West Brom can get 3 points against this Queen's Park Rangers side, they'll be in the Premier League. And I'm really excited because I just remember this game last year. It was 7-1. I still have flashbacks of this game. Jay Rodriguez, Matt Phillips, Hal Robson-Kanu, Dwight Gale completely tearing that Queen's Park Rangers defence apart. But I think this will be a tough, tighter contest, and I think there will be an element of nerves with West Brom. And I think now it's back on them that they need to perform. They could crack under pressure, but I'm thinking a home game where West Brom had a terrific home form all season. And against the Queen's Park Rangers side who do leak a lot of goals. I mean, they leaked 3 against Millwall last weekend. Surely West Brom have got to pull it out the bag. Queen's Park Rangers could also be dangerous. Likes of Elias Chair, Ebrechi Eze, Jordan Hugo can all go forward and cause some threat in that back line where it has looked a little bit vulnerable recently with West Brom, especially being a bit static and shaky. But I think both sides will score plenty of goals, but I think West Brom will score more because I think they definitely need to rally forward. If they get an early goal, West Brom, I think they've done it. I'm going to say a 4-2 home victory to West Brom, which means they will guarantee them a Premier League place. And honestly, they'll have such a welcome back. I hear we have a huge goal in the promotion race in FIFA 20 simulation. A huge goal that Brentford fans would not want to hear because 12 minutes in, it's 1-0 to Queen's Park Rangers. It's a great teamwork goal. Some brilliant play between Jordan Hugo and Eze. The passage of play finds Eze with a lot of space on the right hand side and he shot it confidently past Johnston. West Brom fans will need to hope that Fulham do not beat Wigan because as it stands, West Brom are still going up. 1-0. What a huge goal that is. FIFA 20 pizza will be 1-0 Queen's Park Rangers. And wait, hang on a minute. Tables have turned. We've got a second goal in FIFA 20 simulation. What a significant goal this could be. West Brom look to be going up. That is correct. West Brom have tightened their grip of promotion to the Premier League. It's a great cross from Hal Robson-Kanu who finds Kravinovic having a great header beating Lumley. With 12 minutes left as it stands, West Brom are coming up to the Premier League. 1-1. Wow, the final FIFA 20 simulation goal is probably their biggest goal in the whole FIFA 20 simulation, thinking that West Brom will go up. And then the final game, Wigan versus Fulham. This is a huge game for Wigan where I think they'll need to win this game to give them a small chance of survival. If Wigan do win this game and they do get a points deduction, they'll be on 49 points, meaning they need Luton and Charlton not to win preferably. So those scenarios could happen, but there's no guarantee that is going to happen. And against the Fulham side who've looked really good, trying to push forward up the table, and since they had a terrific weekend where Brentford and West Brom have lost, they're now only 2 points off the top 2. Fulham could potentially just sneak in there, looking like they weren't in the race of promotion in the final 2 or 3 weeks and completely steal second place of West Brom and Brentford. I mean, if they do that, it'll be such an incredible end to the season. Wigan have had 6 consecutive home clean sheets, so Fulham may struggle to break Wigan down because Fulham have scored plenty of goals, got a lot of attacking quality going forward. Fulham conceding 3 against Sheffield Wednesday. It was actually the first 3 goals they conceded since going on a run of having 4 clean sheets in a row. So it looked like Fulham had fixed their defence until they played against Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday. I'm really struggling to predict this one. I'm going to edge a bit of a shock result because it's the Championship. You see shock results all the time. I'm going to say Wigan get a 1-0 victory. I don't know why. FIFA 20 thinks will end as a 0-0. There you have it. These are my score predictions for the final batch of Championship games. Wow. The table on your left right now is what the table would look like. All of my final score predictions came true. This will be the final Championship table this year. Leeds on 93. West Brom just clinching promotion by 1 point on 85. Brentford will have to settle with playoffs. Nottingham Forest are falling down to 6th with Cardiff leapfrogging them. And in terms of the best of the rest, Swansea, Preston and Millwall are the 3 teams just missing out of the top 6. In the bottom 3, Hull, Barnsley and Charlton are going to be the teams relegated. But obviously if Wigan do get their 12-point deduction, then Wigan will occupy that final relegation place. Second table is what the Championship table will look like if all of FIFA 20's results came true. Leeds and West Brom still top 2. Our table is pretty similar, and the relegation zone is quite similar. Hull, but then Luton and Barnsley are the 3 teams they are predicting will go down. Of course, if Wigan do receive a points deduction, they will be in 23rd, and Barnsley would survive by 1 point. That is absolutely crazy. There's going to be a lot of different scenarios and circumstances at the end of the season. I'm pretty sure the last week of a Championship football is not going to disappoint. And to finally put things to an end, let's predict the Premier League fixtures. If you get those predictions right, you'll also get points going on to the Lexus Hall of Fame and a shout out. Man United, West Ham, I think Man United will be comfortable. I'm going to say 3-0 Man United. Liverpool, Chelsea, I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. I think they'll be fine in this game. Burnley, Brighton, I think Burnley will get a result, 1-0. Chelsea, Wolves, really tight. Chelsea had a great game against Wolves in the reverse fixture, but I think it'll be 1-1 matching last year's result. Crystal Palace and Spurs. Crystal Palace have been poor. They've really been struggling with injuries. I'm going to say 2-0 Spurs, who look to be trying to get a Europa League place. Everton and Bournemouth, I think this is going to be the end of Bournemouth. 2-0 Everton for me. Leicester, Man United, a big game in terms of the race of top 4. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw. Man City and Norwich, this is going to be a battering for me. I'm going to say 6-0 Manchester City. Newcastle and Liverpool, I think Liverpool will end with a win. I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. Southampton and Sheffield United, I think it's going to be a mare game. I'm going to say a classic 1-1. Arsenal and Watford, I'm going to say 3-0 Arsenal. I think they're going to have a strong end to the season. And finally, West Ham, Aston Villa, 2-0 West Ham. And that wraps it up for today's video. Such an emotional video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me in this series throughout the years. If you want to see this series again for the next season, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. I want you to comment down your favourite moment of the championship season. I'll be very interested to know what your favourite moment was in this season. Could be a bit of a stretch, but actually my favourite moment was actually losing a bet and having to drink a cider on camera following not predicting the 7-side derby. So it's probably a weird moment for me to pick as my favourite moment of the season, but it's taught me well not to bet ever again, especially when it's in such fierce derbies such as the 7-side derby. And it's definitely going to be a moment that's going to stick to my mind. So I'll say that's my favourite moment of the season. I'll be very interested to know what your favourite moment of the championship season was. And that wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps. We want to get to 200 subscribers as soon as we can. I'm going on holiday in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to work really hard in the next couple of weeks, getting some content out for you guys. And I'm going to be completely cut off from the YouTube channel. When I come back from my holiday, I could be sitting on 1,000 subscribers, or I could be sitting back down to less than 100. So I have no idea what's going to happen with my channel in the 2 weeks that I'm away on holiday. But I don't want you guys to let me down. You guys are going to be in charge in the growth of the channel in the next couple of weeks. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you're still in this video. And as always, the end of the 2019-2020 season. It's been a blast. Take care, guys.